Welcome back to the channel. Today we're talking about the 6 things you have to do before your next video interview. Hi, my name is Ash, and on this channel I'm sharing content all about the job search, CVs, interviews and careers. So if you're into that sort of content, consider subscribing. Let's get into the video. So in my last video, I discussed the 4 key areas you need to consider before your next video interview. I promised you a few extra hints and tips, so here it is. The 6 things you need to do before your next video interview. These 6 things are super easy to get right, but if you get them wrong, it can really hamper your interview. Number 6 is actually my favorite, so stay tuned to the end to hear that one. So number 1, test the interview link beforehand. And when I say beforehand, I don't mean a few minutes before the interview. I'm talking like 2 or 3 days before the interview. I've been in situations where we've had to cancel candidates' interviews because they've logged on a couple of minutes before their interview time and something has gone wrong. You never know, the computer you're using may not be compatible with the software the company uses. You may need to update the software, or you may not even know how to use the software. Avoiding this is so easy. Just test out the link a day or 2 beforehand, and if there are any issues, get in contact with the company and I'm sure it will get resolved. Number 2, eliminate distractions. So we're talking other tabs, other windows, other screens. If you have an iPad or a phone lying around, turn off all notifications on all devices before you start. Comparing video interviews to face-to-face interviews, it's so much easier to get distracted over video. You need to be proactive about this and remove any chances of a notification popping up in the corner of your screen. Number 3, practice, practice, practice. And we're not just talking about answers to your questions. We've discussed that a lot on this channel already. I'm talking about running through your whole interview. So do a trial run with a friend or relative beforehand. Is your Wi-Fi strong enough to manage the connection? Do you know how to share screen if you're doing a presentation? We've all been there. We're about to share screen. We've got a great presentation ready to go in a meeting and we have no idea where the share screen button is. Don't just rely on these things to sort themselves out once the interview starts. The pressure of interviews is hard enough. Don't put added stress on yourself. So number 4 is ask all housemates, all family to be in another room and to keep the noise down for the entirety of the interview. Make sure you book this in advance with them so they have a heads up. And also ask nicely if they wouldn't mind streaming on another Wi-Fi network, especially if your Wi-Fi is known to be a little bit dodgy. Number 5 is backup technology. Now this is something that everyone always forgets. Technology is one of those things that always seems to fail us when we need it the most. If it comes to the day of the interview and your laptop decides not to work, have you got a tablet or an iPad you could use instead? If your Wi-Fi cuts out, are you able to tether internet from your phone? Maybe a spare set of headphones just in case. Think of what else could go wrong and get contingency plans in place. And number 6, my favorite, cheat sheets. This is a major advantage of video and phone interviews. Yes, I know I said remove all distractions, and I definitely still stand by that. What I mean here though is to have bullet lists or post-it notes with little triggers that will help you to remember what to talk about. These can act as cues to answers of often asked questions or little reminders for questions you know you really want to ask in the interview. The key here is not to use these as scripts. We're just creating little reminders to trigger your mind during the interview. And lastly, I know I said there was 6 points, but this is just a side point. Expect the unexpected. During video interviews, something is bound to go wrong. Hopefully you've taken care of everything we've just discussed, but even if you have, it will probably be something like your cat jumping on the table and knocking your computer over or something like that. If something does go wrong, don't ignore it and pretend nothing happened. If there's unexpected builders next door or something, just address it, apologize, and I'm sure your interviewers will understand. Address it head on instead of trying to pretend it didn't happen. Remember, these are tips to incrementally increase your video game. If you can't implement all of them, that's fine. Work with what you've got. But I've been in interviews where some of these things have gone wrong and it really throws everything off. If you missed my first interview on the 4 main areas you need to focus on in videos, I'll link it up here. If you found benefit in this video, I'd really appreciate it if you could hit the like button, subscribe, share it with someone who you think may benefit as well. Let me know what your best tips are for video interviews as well in the comments below. And I'll see you in the next one. Don't expect these things to just, oh, what is that? It's a dishwasher, mate. Oh. I think it stopped. We're good to go. Carry on. All right. There it goes again. Now this is something that no one ever thinks of. Oh my, this dishwasher. Technology is one of those things that always seems to fail us when we need it the most. Like today with this friggin' dishwasher. Boom, that's a wrap, folks. Got there in the end.